I'm Kevin Ellison. Here's a look at what's going on this week in the news. We begin with news from the Vatican. The Vatican recently released details for events to close out the Year of Faith, which ends on November 24th, the Feast of Christ the King. Rome Reports has the details.
The Year of Faith is coming to an end, and the Vatican has revealed three major highlights that will take place before the closing Mass on November 24th, which is also the Feast of Christ the King.
The goal of the Year of Faith was to recover the so-called taste for the faith. It was meant as a moment of deep reflection and as a way to rediscover the encounter between Christ and His Church.
On November 21st, the Pope will visit the monastery of Camaldolese nuns in Rome. There, Pope Francis will join them in prayer and Eucharistic adoration.
It will be a day dedicated to those who have chosen a cloistered life as a way to dedicate themselves fully to a life of prayer and contemplation.
And then on the evening on Saturday the 23rd, adults who are getting ready for the sacrament of baptism will visit the Vatican. They will be welcomed at the entrance of St. Peter's Basilica by the Pope himself. He will personally greet 35 of the 500 future Catholics in the group. Even though it won't be a baptismal ceremony, the Pope will ask the traditional rite questions. Some of them will share their personal stories as well.
Some of the catechumens live their conversion very privately because some of them are actually risking their lives by converting. That's why the focus here will be on their personal experiences. Some of them will share their testimonies.
On Sunday, November 24th, the Year of Faith will come to a close with a papal mass in St. Peter's Square. That same day, the relics of St. Peter will be part of a never-before-seen exhibit. The Pope will also announce a new call, so the new evangelization continues. The Vatican has decided to carry out a collection during the Mass to help victims who were affected by the typhoon in the Philippines. And so in reference to this, Monsignor Fisichella said faith without deeds is baseless.
By the way, the relics they mentioned in the piece are actually believed to be the bones of St. Peter. They were discovered during excavations on the necropolis under the St. Peter's Basilica in the 1940s. Since then, they have been on display in the Pope's private chapel, but never in public. More news now on the close of the Year of Faith. At the Mass, the Pope will be concluding the Year of Faith on Sunday, November 24th. He's going to formally deliver his first apostolic exhortation, Evangelii Gaudium, the joy of the gospel. During the Mass, Pope Francis will give copies of the document to a Latvian bishop, a Tanzanian priest, and a deacon from Australia. The Pope will also give copies to members of men's and women's religious orders and to representatives of other groups of faithful. A visually impaired Catholic will receive the document in the form of a CD-ROM, allowing for audio reproduction. 2 artists will receive the apostolic exhortation on behalf of the artistic world, and 2 journalists will do likewise on behalf of the media. The Vatican announced it would publish the exhortation on November 26th. In news now from around the country, the U.S. Supreme Court has declined to consider a challenge to a ruling that overturned an Oklahoma law requiring women who seek an abortion to get an ultrasound. Oklahoma City Archbishop Paul Coakley said that by declining to hear the appeal, the High Court declined to support a law that would assist and affirm women as they face a serious moral dilemma. The law was originally passed in April of 2010, and a month later, a district court judge granted a temporary restraining order against it. The court issued a permanent injunction in March of 2012. Under the now overturned law, a physician or certified medical technician had to perform an obstetric ultrasound on the pregnant woman. And the woman would also have to be given an explanation of the procedure and what the ultrasound was showing, and allow the woman to see the ultrasound images. We go back now to the Vatican. Pope Francis said the Sunday Angelus over a packed St. Peter's Square, where he gave the crowd some special medical advice and a prescription.
Vorrei adesso a tutti voi consigliarvi una medicina. Ma qualcuno pensa, il Papa fa il farmacista adesso? È una medicina speciale per concretizzare i frutti dell'anno della fede, che ci volge al termine. Ma è una medicina di 59 granelli intracordiali. Si tratta di una medicina spirituale chiamata misericordina, una scatolina di 59 granelli intracordiali. In questa scatoletta è contenuta la medicina e alcuni volontari la distribuiranno a voi mentre lasciate la piazza. Prendetela. C'è una corona del rosario con la quale si può pregare anche la coronina della misericordia, aiuto spirituale per la nostra anima e per diffondere ovunque l'amore e il perdono e la fraternità. Non dimenticatevi di prenderla, perché fa bene al cuore, all'anima e a tutta la vita.
Now, volunteers led by Archbishop Konrad Krajewski, Director of Papal Charities, gave away about 20,000 boxes containing a rosary, a Divine Mercy Holy Card, and a medical-style instruction sheet. The information sheet states that no negative side effects have been reported from use. The sheet also recommends daily use of the beads, but adds that it can be repeated as often as necessary. The Swiss Guard, their family members, and the Albertine sisters who work in their barracks spent weeks in October, the month of the Rosary, preparing the boxes and inserting instructions in several languages. And finally in the news, Pope Francis sent a video message to attendees of the recent conference at the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico. In the pre-recorded segment, His Holiness once again called for Catholics to adopt a missionary mindset and make mission the priority of all pastoral activities. He called for participants, which included clergy, religious laity, and an estimated 80 bishops, to cast aside clericalism and to get out of their churches to serve people where they are. The November 16 through 19 conference at the Basilica was an attempt to better define the Church's missionary role. Well, that is all the information we have for you this time. I'm Kevin Nelson. Don't forget, you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV Network.